Sometimes to have peace in your life, to maintain your own self-respect, you've got to burn a bridge. Not fix it, but burn it. Several years ago, I was a middle school teacher, and some people came to me and said, we've got this 12-year-old boy. His home life is really bad, and we need to get him out of his current home situation. Well, I knew the boy, thought a lot of him, and I said, well, yeah, I will gladly let him come and stay with me. I'll do what I can. So eventually, the boy moved in. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the boy. He came from an unstable home. He had lived with his mother since he was a toddler, and he was now 12 years old. Here he was being removed from the home, and he moved in with me. So after a few years of just trying to get things right for the boy and trying to do the best we could for the boy, took him on trips. We showed him a different way to live, that he didn't have to live the way that he was being raised. But after a few years, we noticed he was lying to us. Next thing we knew, he was stealing from us. And then as the years progressed, the stealing turned into drugs. And, it was just one thing after another. He had a pretty rough raising. We were doing the best we could, but it was getting really, really tough to keep going. And we loved the boy, both of us. My wife and I both loved him. We were doing everything we could to help this boy have a good life. There were multiple warnings. We would, ground him from PlayStation. We would not let him go places. We did everything that we knew how to do. We both had raised kids who were already grown, and we were looking back and saying, what do we do? What do we do? And I talked to some of my friends, and we were just, about to pull our hair out. We didn't really know what to do. But we kept trying things, and then he would kind of reset, think, okay, all right, things are getting better, things are looking up, and then bam, here it would start all over again. I was really having trouble. This battle was going on inside of me. After all these warnings, after all these resets, after us doing everything we could to show him a better way to live, he just kept choosing the wrong paths, just over and over and over again. Eventually, he wound up in jail. Yeah, over drugs, and those things happen. He ended up in jail. And then he was out of jail. Then he was back in jail again. Only this time, he was in jail for 2 years. Even while he was in jail, we tried to do right by him. We tried to show him that we loved him. That because he had made bad choices didn't mean that we didn't love him. And we just did everything that we really could. But I have to tell you something. When he was in jail for those 2 years, I actually felt relieved. One thing, he wasn't stealing and, staying gone and out all the time. So didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to worry about him ending up in a ditch somewhere dead while he was in jail. So it was kind of a relief. I kind of felt peace for the first time in quite a few years. But the other part of that was I felt such guilt. I just tore myself up over what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? Well, time went on, and at the end of the 2 years, he was finally released. And when he was released from jail, he wanted to come back home. And this is where the hard part came in. I had told him before he went to jail that second time that I can't have you in my home anymore. But by this time, he's 18, 19 years old, I guess, 19, almost, or 20, something like that. I don't remember exactly. But I said, I just can't have you in my home. I can't have to keep everything locked up. I can't have all this fear and this guilt just going on in my life. I had no peace whatsoever. And I said, you're grown up. You've made your decisions. And he said, that's okay. That's all right. I understand. I've got places I can go. And I said, well, okay, I'll do what I can to help you, but you just can't live here anymore. But I didn't come to that decision lightly. I came to that decision after a lot of long, heartfelt talks with my best friend for my whole life. His name was Jimmy. He died about 6 or 7 years ago of cancer, but he was my best friend. Jimmy and I would have these long conversations. He understood. He'd been through a similar situation himself. And he looked at me and he said, "Can you live like this for 5 more years? Can you live like this for 2 more years?" And I said, "Jimmy, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I've done everything I can. I've given him every chance. I've given him every opportunity. And every time he comes back, it's just the same thing over and over." So the question I had to ask myself was, am I enabling or am I helping? The love never ends. The love never did end. As a matter of fact, I still love him as much today as I ever did. The young man who came to live in my home was my son, named Kevin. It was really hard for me to burn that bridge. It's one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. To burn the bridge for somebody who's not family is one thing, but to burn it for somebody who is family is completely different. But sometimes you have to do it. You just have to do it. I was doing him no favors. I was not helping him out at all by enabling him, and that's what I was doing. I was just enabling his bad choices and his bad behavior, and he was never going to fix his life as long as I was enabling his old life. Now, folks, I want to tell you, it's not cruel to choose peace, and that's what I had to choose. You know, even the prodigal son came to his father, and he said, "You know what, Dad? I'm tired of living under your rules. I'm going to go out and live on my own." And, you know, the dad gave him his inheritance and said, "Go ahead." He had to let him go. There comes a point where you just have to let people make their own decisions, and you have to burn that bridge. You just got to do it. You're not required to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. And that's what I want you to take with you today. It's hard, but you can do it. Hey, if you got this far in the video, if you want other people to hear it, like it, share it, subscribe, do all the stuff. Thank you for watching.